Hey, what's up, Stellaric? This is Mats from RLCD. Just taking a look at your replay that you posted. I see we're looking at around Diamond 2, Diamond 3 rank in ranked 2s, and it's cool that you queue with this person. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pretty much exclusively look at your team play. About the only time that I will take us into player view is to show you just a few different times where you could have maybe taken a little more time, which is a little situational awareness. But other than that, I think we have enough to go off of just with your team play. From the looks of it, I've watched this a couple times now, and I think with these few changes, you probably would have won by 5 goals. So that's a good thing. That means that if you can just tighten it up a little bit, that you'll be in a really good spot, and I would expect to see you in low champ easy. So I guess the first thing I noticed is, like I said, taking time on your shots. A little bit of it is simply, just hitting the shots you're supposed to hit. That would have given you a few more goals, probably would have given you a tie game without even fixing any of your mistakes. So that's something that, I don't think mechanically you can't do it. I thought mechanically most of your hits were good. I actually think that your defensive reactions were fantastic. You saved the ball in some difficult situations quite a few times, which I was impressed with. Um, but yeah, so other than that, just we can all always be a little more accurate. So, grind those training packs, hit it around in free play. But especially in this, it's a lot of situational awareness that would just let you take your time to line up the shot. And there are some pretty easy shots. So, yeah, obviously with the early lead you guys got, wasn't able to pick out much here. One thing I would say is we'll see this a couple times here in particular. I will point this out a couple times throughout this replay. But you had a habit of, as a team, inviting a lot of pressure onto yourselves. I think this is a game that you and Guitaric really dominated for long stretches. And it was kind of surprising to see that they had, the lead. They had way more shots than you, and it's for several moments throughout the game, like this one, where okay, just little miscommunication there, where the ball bounces up in the air, and you're kind of just, letting them. And here's the thing: I'm not gonna harp on you really for this play because awkward situation off here. You're probably low on boost. I won't check, but I'm just going to give you the benefit of the doubt that you're low on boost. And both attackers are there just ready to take a shot on net. Fortunately, they missed, but he probably could have put it a lot of places in the net here and he would have scored. It's just situations like that where you find yourself in an awkward position defensively. There's a couple better examples, so that was kind of a poor one of that. But I feel like your team pressure, it kind of let up at certain points, and that's why they had so many more shots than you, even though I feel like you dominated the game. So I think overall, your team rotations were pretty good. What we will see on multiple of the goals here, especially, we're going to go back and watch this. This is just simply a breakdown of understanding what role you're playing on the team in this situation. The good news is that it can be solved with good communication, but it's also just a general game instinct to know where you're supposed to be going here. So in any Rocket League play, there's usually, a few things that your team could have done differently to prevent this. So, here, for example, simple play off the wall, he clears it. Your teammate here, Guitaric, could, come across and cut this ball out. that's one thing that could have happened. But also you could have done pretty much the same thing. So it's really just a matter of, calling it at this point. There's no wrong thing to do here. Now, the thing that you do wrong is, so it looks like he's going for the shot. You did have sort of an awkward flip here, and you sort of stay in the corner where you're completely useless. So the team mistake here is you both go to the same spot. In twos, you should never be in the same spot as your teammate, within reason, of course. So right here, it's an awkward play against the wall. Both of you can't really do much right here, and awkward thing off the corner here. But if this is a better shot, I mean, if this is champ 1, this is a goal anyway. So so let me go to actually your player view here just for a second. See here, great challenge by you. I thought your challenges were fairly good for the most part. So there, awkward flip. You see your teammate sort of coming in for this right there, which I think you tried to get out of the way here, but you sort of half-heartedly do so because you stop here, where really the proper thing to do is to, oh geez, controls are hard. Really what you should be doing is just completely clearing out of the play, because your teammate has done a hard commit to this corner, even though they kind of missed it, and you just have to be ready for any awkward shot. Because think about how easy this shot is to save if you're already positioned right here. That's a simple jump into the ball, and it's like it never happened, and you still have a 2-0 lead. So right there, again, it's just like a team awareness communication issue, which I think is one of the easier things to fix. If your teammate says, I got this, you should know immediately to clear out of the play, try to rotate around to the back post, because unless he's a god from here, because he's getting pretty close to your wall to try to make a pass, if he centers it perfectly for him, then you're already sort of covering the net if you decided to clear out of the play. But if not, if he's not a god, then you don't have to worry about it, and you're just sitting in net ready to clear up any non-issue there might be. And, as for a diamond 2 or 3, this is kind of a non-issue right here. Even if you have no boost, you can double jump and save that. So, yep, it's just a matter of, two people being in the same place at the same time. So, a few of those things I mentioned, I'll try to point out as we go along. I thought your teammate in particular was very good at reading your plays on offense. There were a couple passes that you put into him where he knew right when to go for them. It was kind of unfortunate that you didn't score off a couple of those situations. That was another one that I was impressed that, you got a touch on, you cleared it to safety. You made that a non-issue for your team. So I think that's really your strength, is being able to react on defense. And then this is a better example of what I was talking about before with inviting pressure. And, I think in this particular one, you probably know it as well. It may have just been a mistake, but instead of challenging this ball, your teammate's completely out of the play, and, Cool Breeze is going to turn for this pretty quickly. You flipped really early and you kind of put yourself out of the play and went to go get boost. This is not a challenge that you need boost for, which I'm sure you realize in retrospect. That's just like a quick turn. You can control it, pop it over Cool Breeze, give your teammate time to get back. Nothing terrible should happen with this challenge, because you would have been there well before him. So instead you kind of give him an opportunity to take a shot on. Again, you deal with it well on defense. Another one of your strengths, but I would rather not see this at all because, just looking at it from his perspective, just trying to think what this would be like for a higher rank. They're putting that with more power farther to the side, and that makes it a really difficult save for you. You probably still could have gotten to it, but you definitely don't want to be putting yourself in those situations too much. So I think like right here in general was a good opportunity to keep the pressure on them. Your teammate probably could have stayed up with you a little bit had you gotten that over Cool Breeze. But instead it kind of goes right back to their end with a pretty good opportunity. Good thing Zuck totally mishit that. So here was another good opportunity. Your teammate read your pass really well. He realized that he's either going to score this or at worst he's going to force the opponent into an awkward save, which he does. Sometimes those can burn you in twos because that wasn't like 100% goal. Sometimes with you up on that play, if it just takes the wrong sort of bounce off the wall and centers for the other team, then you can get burned. But overall, I think it was a fine opportunity. Again, another great reaction by you there. Here's another one where it was just a misunderstanding of what role you play in a certain situation. So I'll try to take you through this because, again, there's a couple different things that you could have done as a team, a couple potential solutions to prevent this. But the goal that they score really is caused right here. So your teammate got demoed. You should see that he got demoed, or he should be calling that out to you. Either one. Not really too concerned about how you're getting that information, but your teammate's demoed. So you're coming off of a save, and right here, I'd say your number one best bet is to go for this ball immediately. Look how close you are compared to the other guys, and you have a full boost pad right here. Your teammate spawned here. He could have spawned on the other side, but regardless, he is going to have to take a second to sort of like orient himself and see like the play, like what's happening right now. So the number one thing to do would have been to go for this, and instead you kind of turn away from it, probably because you saw your teammate spawn right here. But again, just keep that in mind. Like whenever you get demoed, you're probably respawning like not knowing much about what happened in the last 3 seconds. So you're going to have to take a second to sort of read what's going on. So you're always better off if your teammate just got demoed and you're driving close through one of the corners that they might be in. You're better off just making that play yourself. But, again, I don't have an issue where if he does read this very quickly, because he can still probably get there before the other guy. Well, I guess not, because we're seeing he's boosting all the way. So could be wrong about that. Yeah, he backed up there, which was the issue. But then again, I mean, he's trying to see what's going on. So sort of like backing off from this play when you see your teammate. So everyone's sort of reacting a little late to what's going on. Like you're like, oh crap, I'm going to back off like after you should have decided you're backing off. And he's like, oh crap, I got to go for it after he should have been going for it already. So it just puts you guys in this awkward situation where he's not going to get there first, and you don't have time to completely get in position before the ball's sort of coming towards you. Now you could have waited here. It's a really dangerous situation to wait in, so I think you kind of had to go for this. But then again, you kind of backed off. You half committed to that. And again, just late reaction in general. So it's really just understanding your role in this tricky situation after your teammate got demoed. So imagine just zooming through here, grabbing that full boost, and then just hitting it up the wall. It's a non-issue. And then again, just the sort of little late reaction because you kind of like turn towards it, then are you rotating back, and then it takes a kind of fortunate bounce off the wall for them, and they're able to get there before you regardless. He might, you know, if you wait in net, he may be hitting that over you anyway. Um, so yeah, hopefully that makes sense about why that would just be a simple team breakdown that caused that. Here, again, I'm not going to say much about that. Was eating Doritos or something, came back a little late. Certainly doesn't help in ranked when you're not ready for the kickoff, but happens to the best of us. So here, again, one of those things where tried to be a little fancy there. Which you can be. I mean, that was a for sure goal. It was almost harder to miss. But, you know, again, happens. Again, there, I like the challenge your teammate went for. You can be a little bit quicker getting back, but again, you make a fantastic reaction on defense to cut out that play. Guitark, again, could have taken a little more time there just to... He completely beat everyone. He has an open net. I know he probably hears this guy boosting behind him, but he had a lot of time to just read that and hit it in. Another great challenge by you on the wall. And this one. This, again, you could have taken your time with, especially because you should see that when you're going up the wall here, at this point, you know that both of them have committed to this. So as soon as you beat them and it goes towards your net, you can let that bounce like one time, maybe even twice. You don't even have to use any boost to push that in. So it was just kind of rushing it a little bit. And again, that's what I'm talking about. I think mechanically you're fine. It was just that situational awareness. So try just taking a little more time on your shots. I know one thing that's really helped me is when I've been coached by some grand champs myself, and they've just told me to play slower, and it's really helped me. In twos, everyone makes a big, well, I wouldn't say just in twos, but I think at higher ranks, people make a big deal about, oh, you got to play faster, you got to blah, 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 do this and do that. Well, if you actually take your time and you watch some pretty high ranked people, what I've noticed is they're not particularly playing fast at all. They're just efficient in their movement. They put themselves in good positions. They line up their shots, and the sort of optical illusion that it provides is not optical, well, maybe, but you know, the illusion it provides is that they are playing faster than they actually are. They're kind of just taking their time, making the right hits, and it ends up, you know, becoming just a bit more fluid. And so it looks faster, even though they're not really playing fast. So, like right there, for example, you know, a really high-skilled player would have seen both people up on the wall, would get down with the ball, let it bounce, and then just sort of like slowly just like hit it into the net. So that's all it is. Just maybe even try playing slower a few games and just see if that helps. Because again, I think your team, you and your teammate, you could have had a couple goals each just by, you know, like slowing it down, playing a little calmer. So there. So this goal, fantastic reaction again by you, but this was a mistake in general. And it's sort of the exact same thing that we saw before, which might help further illustrate my point. So your teammate... Oh, geez. Well, my game crashed, but I will boot it back up, and we will go right back into it. Sorry about that. That was weird. All right, let's get my game back up. There we go. Extras, replays. All right, and we were at about, don't remember what exact time it was. So we were well past there. Oh yeah, here it is. Because you make a save here. So it's sort of the same situation. Your teammate gets demoed. You go in and make a play on it. And at this point, it's again one of those things where should you be coming into this play, or should your teammate who's freshly demoed be going for it? Now, when you make this challenge and you flip towards this direction, it doesn't matter if he's respawning here or respawning there. You're already putting yourself in a position to cover the net because you just made a challenge. If you think about rotation in very simple terms, I'm sure you know this already, but once you go for a hit, you should be thinking to rotate back on defense and cover the net. Sort of the same thing here. You go for the hit, you make the challenge, you're out of the play, you're going back to cover the net. So that's a pretty simple thing. Now your teammate is sort of under the ball again, so he's not in any position to get there before the other guy. And what turns into you covering the net, you're kind of creeping forward because you kind of know your teammate probably can't get it. You're always better off just watching the play in that situation then, because this is, think about, again, if you're here, even if you're a little farther back in the net, even if you don't even rotate all the way back around, even if you just like take your time right here, how easy is it to make this save? You put yourself in an awkward position, you make a great reaction, but it does lead to a goal. So you make the challenge, rotate back, stick around, your teammate's in an awkward spot. If he's better, he might be hitting that top shelf really fast, in which case, I'd say if you're champ 3 skill, maybe you're immediately boosting here and trying to get there. Actually, let's see how much boost you have on this play. So you do have a ton of boost here. So that's kind of your other option. In almost every situation, when you're guarding the net, you kind of have the option of whether you're hanging back or going for a challenge before they can get a shot off. If you boost here, you're getting there easily, but you kind of hesitate and wait for him to make this hit. That was really not, like, looking at this again for like the 4th time, I think that's maybe what you want to think about doing, because right here you have a ton of boost. Even if he has boost too, he's waiting to line up his shot, which you should know. Like, if he hits it at that point in the air, it's not going to be that dangerous. The worst is it's going to like hit off the wall here and like bounce out, and his teammate is over there too, so it's not going to be a good center. So you have a ton of boost. You could have easily gotten to that, and then you're clearing it down, and it's probably a goal because they're the ones that are in the corner together. So either one, good example of getting caught in no man's land. But you see your teammate get demoed, you don't know what he's doing, he can't get to it, and you kind of decide too late that you should be challenging there. So I think you realize you needed to challenge, you just didn't fully commit to it, which is a tough part. So in 2s, I'm totally fine with what I was saying before, where I'm totally fine hanging back a little and being a little more defensive, watching the play develop in front of you. But I think you had the right idea here, and you just kind of hesitated a little bit. So at this point, the scoreline is over, but the game is not. This was good. I like this sequence from you guys. You guys are really putting on pressure. Like, look, they're like totally scrambling right now. I think your teammate definitely needed to clear out here. After he makes this hit, he should be letting you come in for that, because you have a much cleaner hit on the ball. Instead, he kind of doesn't put himself in a great spot. But again, you're able to keep pressure on, which is great. Here, again, this was fine. I'm okay with what you did here. You do realize you had a couple options, though. I know you didn't want to get beat, but you could have made that challenge there. Um, but I probably would have done exactly what you did and just waited for him to kind of get rid of the ball. So here again. So your rotation is fine, and this is, again, the last minute since that goal was scored. You guys have been pretty much dominating this game, and I think I didn't point that out enough earlier, too, when I thought you guys were really just, you know, playing up on them and not letting them do much. Um, you kind of let the team breakdowns define the game for you, but for the most part, I thought you played pretty decently as a team. Yeah, I didn't see like really any double commits. I didn't see any uh, egregious sort of rotations or anything like that. So um, overall, I think you're definitely on the right track as a team. I think that, just to summarize again, with what I had pointed out, you can take your time on more of those shots. You would have had easily 3-4 more goals if you did that. Just kind of slowed it down and took time to read where the opponents were. I think you invited pressure a little too much after you were completely dominating the game when you didn't have to. I think that's the sign of maybe a couple ranks higher than you, is that a Champ 1, Champ 2 team won't allow the other team as many shots as you allowed them. And again, that's just maybe decision making, communication, because as we saw, most of their goals were from that team breakdown and the understanding. So, yeah, I think I would remedy that just by changing your mindset a little bit in the twos game to play a little bit slower, and then to just kind of work on those teamwork situations and awkward situations. So try to overly communicate when you see your the other team coming down with the ball, and you know that somebody just like got demoed or somebody got bumped away, or you both realize you're in the same position. As soon as something like that happens, just try to overly communicate, and you should see a couple of those goals disappear. But yeah, this was a totally winnable game for you guys. I think that you're pretty close to, as a team, making a pretty big jump in ranked, because I thought you played pretty well. But yeah, if you do have any questions about anything that I talked about, feel free to hit me up. Hopefully this helped a little bit. Hopefully the zoomed out view was a little bit better, just to kind of go over what I thought were the issues. I did watch it from the player view as well, and I was like, I actually don't really know what he's doing wrong the first time I watched it. And then I went back and viewed it, and it became sort of obvious why the scoreline was what it was. So, yeah, feel free to hit me up with any questions. I hope this helped. If it did help, feel free to drop me some rep in the Coach Rep channel. Always helps us out. But otherwise, thanks for listening.